Towards the end of last season and through the holidays, one common question has come up, and that is, how did I get my yard to look so good? I always get worried when I'm asked this question because often I go down a rabbit hole that the person asking was not prepared for. But before we untangle all of that, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you're not already. Click the bell to get the notifications so you don't miss out on all the antics that may or may not happen on this channel. I've come to learn in my years of doing this and working in and around the house that when people ask that question, often they're wanting an easy answer and solution. I don't mean to generalize here, but most of the time when people ask that question, they're expecting something along the lines of, it took X, Y... Kids yelling upstairs, gotta love it. Take two. Most of the time they're looking for an easy answer of, it only took X, Y, and Z, and it only cost this much. Well, let me just say that is not how the cookie breaks apart, my friend. Have you ever heard the phrase, the best laid plans of mice and men? Even the absolute best and most careful planning does not necessarily mean success. Around the tail end of winter of 2023, I had all of these plans of what I wanted to do in and around my house, not only overhauling my backyard, starting a lawn renovation, but building garden beds, a shed, and having chickens. Well, here's what actually happened. Kicked things off by tossing out my piece of crap trimmer from that other company, and I got myself a battery-powered Milwaukee string trimmer and attachment to help with cleanup efforts and maintaining the yard. From there, I ripped out my old sprinkler system to overhaul and redo that. It was not the best, I was not getting good coverage, and I didn't know it at the time, but I had some water pressure issues. Then dealt with some typical weed issues. I usually only have to deal with Star of Bethlehem and some other sporadic weeds here and there, but nothing too major. Before putting in my new lines, I needed to address my water pressure issue by beating the crap out of my pressure regulator in the irrigation control box in my front yard. Since we ripped out the old sprinkler system, this was a good opportunity to plan and carve out a new landscaping bed, and I planted some new trees. I loaded up on some new fert for the entire season, then I bought new sprinkler heads, nozzles, lines, the whole works, and began to plan that out and start to put that into place. Yes, I'm sad to say we had to say goodbye to Gator. That mower was just tearing up the yard. I wasn't a big fan of the California trimmer. I know that might upset some people, but we're moving on. I bought a new manual reel mower because I wanted something that would be more gentle for my new grass when I went to plant that. Then you had some typical problems come up like leaky valves in the irrigation control box in the back. We had to fix that. From there, it was time to destroy and get rid of the front yard. So first thing I did was I scalped down the grass. Now this probably wasn't a good move because after this I applied some glyphosate to start the kill. Glyphosate does better when it's got some living stuff, green tissue to attach to and gnaw on. So I probably could have skipped the scalping down and gone straight to the glyphosate application. After nuking the yard, and I'm gonna have to give props to Ryan Knorr for this tip, I then applied some fertilizer to push growth of whatever did not die so that I could come back and really kill off as much as possible. But instead of laying down a round 2 of glyphosate, I literally torched the yard. In that video, I go over why I torched the yard. There are some benefits there. Go and watch that video after this one, of course. From there, it was time to plant the grass seed. Watered it like crazy, and then it was time to fert all over that grass seed. Kept up a good watering schedule and just literally watched the grass grow. Took about 2 weeks to get established, and then it was time for the first mow. And after that, it was just autopilot from there of mowing and ferting and watering and just enjoying. I had somewhat of a budget in mind, but I had additional funds that I could kind of be nimble with and spend a little less here and a little more there. For example, the irrigation lines. Didn't expect it to cost what it did, but it is what it is. So I had to sacrifice planting some more trees, building garden beds, ditch the shed idea, and pass on buying chickens. For now. And that right there, in my opinion, is the biggest misconception. That you just have to buy one thing, product, or subscribe to one idea, and the next thing you know, you have this quote-unquote perfect lawn after just one season. It just isn't gonna happen that way. In some instances, like completely overhauling your backyard, you aren't going to get it done in a single pass. You're gonna have to pick and choose what you want to work on, how much you can spend both in time and money, and do the best you can with what you got. After all that is said and done, you just sit back with a cold Dr. Pepper and say, well, that'll do for now. So what is 2024 going to look like? Again, I have somewhat of a plan in mind. I've got somewhat of a budget in mind, but will all of it get done? Probably not, and that's all right. There's always next year. So that's my biggest advice. Just take your time, do the best you can with what you got when you can do it, and let the chips fall where they may. What am I missing? What are your thoughts on this? Sound off in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and if you're not subscribed to the channel already, please make sure to do so. Click on the bell so you get notifications every time I upload a new video. Keep on keeping on, and I will catch you in the next one.